Hey, good morning, guys. This is Brad Krantz. Hey, welcome to my Monday Morning Leadership. I'm continuing to work through Servant Leadership Roadmap. And today we're going to take a more in-depth look at the characteristic of stewardship. Peter Drucker said, management is doing the things right, leadership is doing the right things. And I think he has that absolutely correct. There is and often can be a significant difference between management and a manager and someone who's truly a leader. Stewardship is demonstrated by taking responsibility and accountability. The leader's role is to be accountable to the members of the team through leading by example and removing barriers. Accountability is accepting the outcomes of an initiative, good or bad. So as servant leaders, we must take responsibility for ourselves and the actions and performance of the team. So here's a key point. You need your team more than it needs you. Our job as leaders is to remove barriers and roadblocks to secure the team's success. The team's success is our measuring stick. And so here's a question. How do we practice stewardship? Okay, it begins with leading by example. To lead by example, we've got to be responsible for our actions. Okay, we've got to follow the same rules, policies, and regulations that we have required of the team. So I'm going to give a general example here that we're going to refer to again really shortly. Do as I say, not as I do. And guys, that doesn't work, right? A leader cannot be a hypocrite. So on this, do any leaders come immediately to your mind? How does it make you feel? Do you feel aggravated? Do you feel angry? Maybe frustrated? Well, guess what? Your team feels the same way when you don't lead by example. So think before you act. All of our actions can impact our team, and we need to be aware of that. Keep in mind that you're on stage and your team is watching. Okay, so again, the do as I say and not as I do mentality is damaging to the morale of the team, and it damages your credibility as a leader, which it should. This double standard by the leader demoralizes the team and can become destructive, right? The team will feel a loss of empathy and respect that you're trying to convey. So you're blowing everything you're supposedly trying to work for. It is an honor for a team to instill their trust in you and to lead them. And so this privilege should not be taken lightly. We're obligated to covet that trust by setting the best example and always having the team's best interest in mind. And this takes work and it takes character. Through leading by example, we demonstrate to our team what is possible, and we begin practicing what we're preaching. So leading by example can easily be applied to your leadership in several ways. I'll give you 4 here. Number 1, be willing to do anything you would ask of others. So don't ask somebody to do something that you wouldn't be willing to do. Take out the garbage, but you don't. Follow the rules as closely as you expect your team members to follow them, right? Don't be hypocritical. Be cautious not to interrupt any team member, especially if you're critical of someone else interrupting. And 4th, if you allow the team to leave early in a job situation, for instance, then you should also leave early. Otherwise, the team's going to feel guilty if you stay and finish work. So you want to work together. Take a moment and think about your leadership style, your values, and your actions. And then ask yourself the question, do you need to make any adjustments? And next, let's talk about accepting responsibility. Here's a key point. Good leaders take responsibility and bad leaders place blame. Placing blame is often seen in leadership, and I'd say quote-unquote management positions, and I'd add by those who typically do not really even understand leadership, because I don't think they're real leaders. Then when things go south, these individuals are ready to point fingers and isolate the individual or the thing that caused the issue. And you know what? That's the easy route. Sadly, it's much easier to point out someone and place blame, right? It needs to be recognized that this is a detriment to everyone, including the leadership that you're attempting to establish. Again, you're kind of sabotaging yourself. So what does placing blame represent? Well, it signifies the leader, and again, I'm going to qualify this and say if they're really that they weren't as prepared as they could have been. So think about that for a moment. And again, as it's been oft observed, when you point a finger at someone, there are 3 fingers pointing back at you. So key point here, don't place blame, accept responsibility. A responsible leader says, I'm the one who must make it happen. The leader takes responsibilities for the actions, whether they're good or bad, of the team. In leading a team, the leaders will relinquish the just won the team position, rise to the leader position by setting direction and expectations for the group. So stepping up and accepting responsibility can be viewed, and should be viewed, as an advantage. And as you lead by example for accepting responsibility and accountability, you'll see a change in the culture of your team. And I think that's what you're after to begin with. Your team members begin to take ownership for outcomes. Again, you're setting the example. And they also accept responsibility for their own actions in the job or the functions that they perform. So here's a point. Through stewardship, you have advanced your leadership and that of the team. So here's a quick recap on stewardship. The characteristics of stewardship are best demonstrated by leveraging our interpersonal skills of self-accountability and accepting responsibility. And again, you hold yourself to the same standards of the team. You're not hypocritical. And then leaders accept responsibility for all actions, good or bad, of ourselves and those of our team. So thanks, guys, for joining me today. I hope that this has been helpful and added value to you in better understanding this characteristic. I'll catch you next week with motivation and persuasion. Have an awesome Monday, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.